when the Lord came into this world, we know that he preached and he taught. But what he said wasn't like a sermon. It wasn't a lot of ideas complexly or expertly woven together to make an argument or explain a point, as so often what we say within the church is. The Lord instead spoke simple truths. He answered hard questions in a way that brought understanding to the minds of those who heard him. But all of this that he said, good words, wise words, clear ideas, this is not the gospel. The gospel is not a matter of what the disciples learned from the Lord about how the world works. We sometimes think of that because we come into the church and this is what we hear. We hear the priest or the psalty trying to explain, trying to speak clearly in a way that doesn't make the kids bored. Right, Seraphim? We try. But we understand this is hard. The guy stands up and he starts talking and the kids think, well, clearly he's not talking to me. Even if we try. But that's not what the gospel is. Someone standing up and talking in front of you is not what Christianity is about. It's good news, right? Because that's the boring part. Christianity is about, instead, what we celebrate today. The Lord went up a mountain with 3 of his friends. And up on the top of that mountain, they saw him change. The one who had been just like everyone else, dressed the same, talking the same, acting more or less the same, all of a sudden shone more brightly than the sun. Imagine that. Think of your 3 closest friends, and the 4 of you go up a mountain one day, and one of them all of a sudden starts shining like the sun. That's a day. You're not going to forget that day. You're going to think, okay, my friend is somebody special. I've been listening to him. I've been talking to him. But this is something that's never been heard of before. And then it would make sense. You would fall down on your face and say stupid things. Because when we see something amazing, we tend to babble. Our mouth moves. We say things that don't make sense. And Jesus told them, don't talk about this to anybody. Don't spread this around until after I am glorified. But when we hear the epistle today, this is St. Peter, who was there. And he's writing a letter to everyone. And he's saying exactly this point. He's saying, Jesus didn't come and philosophize with us. Not that there's anything wrong with philosophy, right? We like Socrates, right? But St. Peter says, Jesus didn't come and reason with us and explain to us how to be smart. He came and showed us his divinity. He shone more brightly than the sun, and we realized from that who he is. And that is what we preach to you. God has come to us. He remains God, and yet he is a human being. And his divinity, his Godhead, shines in his humanity. And it illumines, it shines a light on everything in this world. The gospel is God is with us, and we are being made bright and glorious and beautiful and perfect because God is with us. This is the gospel. It's good news. We're not alone. We're not abandoned. We are not without hope. Therefore, on this day of the Transfiguration, we rejoice greatly as we stand and continue the divine